Royal passion. The older woman who stole the crown prince's heart. The palace had always been a place of rules, of golden ceilings and quiet obedience, where love was spoken in whispers and hearts were expected to serve the crown, not themselves. But everything changed the night he saw her. She wasn't dressed like the women who usually filled royal halls. There were no diamonds on her wrists, no shimmering gowns to announce her arrival. She wore simplicity like a secret crown, a quiet confidence that needed no jewels. Her laughter carried warmth, the kind that melted marble hearts and shook, the soul of the man who had been raised never to fall. The crown prince, known to the world as a symbol of power, wealth, and discipline, had never known what it meant to be disarmed. But when his eyes met hers, time lost its rhythm. She was older, yes, years wiser, and in that wisdom he found something no royal tutor had ever given him: truth. That night he couldn't look away. The royal ballroom spun around them, filled with lights and luxury, yet his world narrowed to her voice. The calm tone, the way she spoke to him, not as a prince, but as a man. It was dangerous. It was forbidden. And it was beautiful. Days turned into weeks, and fate, mischievous as ever, brought them together again. He found excuses to see her. Official meetings, charity events, even unplanned visits to the art gallery where she worked. She had a gift for restoring old paintings, breathing life into what time had worn away. How fitting, he thought, that she was now restoring something inside him. He learned her name, Layla, a name that carried poetry within itself. Her presence was quiet yet commanding. She didn't chase attention, but it found her anyway. When she smiled, the prince forgot his lineage, his responsibilities, his crown. She made him human. But every royal romance comes with a shadow. The whispers began almost immediately. Court ladies whispering behind jeweled fans, advisors murmuring in the halls. "She's too old," they said. "She's not royal. She'll ruin his image." And yet the more the world tried to tear them apart, the deeper he fell. He started writing her letters, hidden beneath his royal duties. Letters that would never be sent, filled with thoughts too tender for a prince to confess aloud. "You are not my age. You are my forever. You are not my scandal. You are my peace." One evening, under the pale Dubai moon, he found himself standing at her door, no guards, no titles, just him. "You make me forget who I'm supposed to be," he told her softly. "And for the first time, I think I like it." Layla looked at him, her eyes holding both fear and understanding. "You are a prince and I am no one," she said. "This world will not forgive us." He smiled faintly, stepping closer. "Then let the world be the one to sin. My heart has already chosen." But even as the night wrapped them in its fragile silence, they both knew. The crown does not share its throne with love so easily. The morning after their forbidden meeting, the crown prince returned to the palace with a storm in his eyes. His guards noticed his silence, but none dared to ask. The golden gates closed behind him, trapping his heart inside a cage of expectations once more. Rumors had already begun to spread through the corridors of royalty like wildfire. A crown prince in love with an older woman, the very idea was unthinkable. The royal council whispered. The press speculated, and his father, the king, watched in silence, anger hidden behind his calm authority. Layla, too, felt the world turning cold around her. At the art gallery, cameras began to appear, disguised as admirers of her work. Her phone buzzed with unknown numbers, journalists offering money for stories she would never tell. She refused to speak. Dignity was her only shield. But the prince could not stay away. Late at night, he would sneak out of the palace, wearing a simple white kandura and a scarf that hid his royal face. In the quiet corners of the city, he met Layla beneath the silver sky, away from titles, away from duty. "Why do you risk everything for me?" she asked one night, her voice trembling between fear and love. "Because," he said softly, taking her hand, "when I'm with you, I'm not the crown prince. I'm just a man who has finally found the truth." She tried to pull her hand away, but his warmth kept her close. "Truth," she whispered, "has a price." He looked at her then, his eyes deep with the kind of love that could rewrite destiny. "Then let me pay it." But fate, merciless as ever, was listening. The next morning, his father summoned him to the royal chamber. The king stood by the window, his robe glimmering like authority itself. "I hear stories," the king began slowly, "of a woman, older than you, not of royal blood." The prince didn't deny it. "They're true." The silence that followed was heavier than gold. The king turned sharply, his eyes filled with fury. "You are not a common man, my son. Your love is not your own to give. Every woman you choose represents this kingdom." "I understand," the prince said quietly. "But what if my heart has already chosen?" The king's voice thundered, "Then your heart has betrayed your crown." Those words cut deeper than any sword. That night, the prince stood on the palace balcony, watching the lights of Dubai shimmer like dreams he could never touch. His mother visited him quietly, her presence soft but knowing. "My son," she said gently, "I know what it means to love what the world does not approve of. But sometimes, love must bow before destiny." He turned to her, eyes wet. "And if destiny is wrong?" She sighed, her voice trembling. "Then you must be strong enough to rewrite it." The next day, he sent Layla a message, a single line written with trembling hands. "Meet me where our silence began." At the gallery, she waited. When he arrived, his face was pale, but his gaze was steady. "They know," he said. "And they want me to end this." Layla. The next morning, the world awoke to chaos. Every news outlet carried the same headline: "Crown Prince in secret affair with older woman revealed." Photos from the art gallery spread across the internet. The prince, unmasked, standing too close to a woman who wasn't royal. Layla's name, once known only among artists, was now on every screen, every tongue, every whisper. The palace went into crisis mode. Advisors flooded the royal office. The king's anger was no longer quiet. It echoed through every marble hall. The prince was ordered to remain inside the palace until further notice. Layla's gallery was shut down by inspection orders. The city, which once adored its young prince, now buzzed with curiosity and judgment. Inside her small apartment, Layla sat by the window, her heart heavy yet calm. She knew this day would come. Love, when forbidden, never stays hidden for long. Her phone rang endlessly. Friends, reporters, strangers, but she answered none. The only message she waited for never came. In the palace, the crown prince was locked in a silent battle. He stared at his reflection in the mirror, royal heir bound by rules he never believed in. The king had spoken. You will end this, or you will lose everything. Everything. His title, his inheritance, his father's trust, his people's respect. But what was all that compared to her? At night, he escaped again, through secret corridors he'd known since childhood, past guards who pretended not to see. When he reached her home, she opened the door before he could knock. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. He smiled faintly. Then I am exactly where I need to be. She turned away, tears already gathering. They're destroying you for loving me. He stepped closer, gently lifting her chin. No, Layla, they're destroying the idea of me. But the real me, he lives only when he's with you. For a moment, the world disappeared again. No cameras, no judgments. Only two souls bound by love and tragedy, but their peace shattered with a loud knock on the door. The palace guards had found him. Your Highness, one of them said firmly, the king requests your immediate return. Layla's heart sank. She wanted to beg him to stay, but she knew this was the moment every fairy tale fears, the moment when love must face its reckoning. He turned to her and whispered, no matter what happens next, promise me one thing. Don't let them turn our story into shame. She nodded, barely holding back her tears. Our love is not shame, she said. It's truth. That night, the prince faced his father once more. The king's eyes burned with disappointment. You were born to lead, not to love like a fool. The prince stood tall. If love is foolish, then I would rather be a fool than a king who feels nothing. The king's fury turned the first time. He saw not a boy, but a man standing before him, one who would defy a kingdom for love. Days later, the royal statement was released to the